Did you know? An Australian engineer once sued his ex-boss for farting on him. During World War II, explosives attached to thousands of bats, and the inventor of the television banned TV from his home. Are you ready to dive into a world of incredible facts that will blow your mind? Welcome to another episode of 30 Weird Fun Facts. Here are some fun and amazing facts that will thrill and surprise you at the same time. So, without wasting any more time, let's get started with Number 1. The sixth six sheep sick is said to be the toughest tongue twister in the English language. This tongue twister is considered as the toughest one to say by the Guinness Book of Records, known as sixth six sheep sick. This tongue twister is extremely difficult to say, as these string of words quickly multiple times. This may not make much sense, but then tongue twisters are not more than just a series of words put together to exercise your tongue. Number 2. In 2014, there was a Tinder match in Antarctica. Two research scientists matched on the global dating app in the most remote part of the world. A man working at the United States Antarctic McMurdo Station and a woman camping a 45-minute helicopter ride away. What are the chances? Number 3. American Airlines saved $40,000 in 1987 by eliminating one olive from each salad served in first class. It is true that American Airlines saved around $40,000 in 1987 by removing a single olive from the salads altogether from each salad. But cutting out salads entirely 30 years later will not do much good for Air India. Number 4. Elephants are the only animals that can't jump. With elephants, it is impossible for them to jump, as unlike other mammals. The bones in the elephant's legs point downwards, which means that they do not have the spring required to push off the ground. Number 5. Most lipstick contains fish scales. Most of the lipsticks made are the byproduct of fish scales called pearl essence, as it turns out that the stuff that makes the fish scales shine makes one's lips shiny as well. Pearl essence comes from commercially fished herring. There are synthetic versions available as well, but they are not widely used. Number 6. One vending machine is present for every 40 people in Japan. With one vending machine for every 40 people, Japan is regarded to have one of the highest numbers of vending machines in the entire globe. The majority of them sell different kinds of beverages, although some also provide ice cream, noodles, and disposable cameras. Number 7. Cats sleep for 2/3 of their lives. People have a love-hate relationship with cats. It's somewhat understandable, since cats tend to be the exact opposite of the warm, eager demeanor loved by many in dogs. Another stark difference is that cats spend a lot of time asleep, like 15-hour average kind of a lot. Cats sleep mostly during the day and only become active around twilight. Number 8. African buffaloes make decisions by voting. Turns out, democracy isn't just a human behavior. Animals take part in it as well. The African buffalo is one of the animals most well known for using a voting tactic to make travel decisions. African buffalo herds actually use a form of voting when trying to decide which direction to travel in. One at a time, adult females will stand up and look in a certain direction before sitting down. Whichever direction gets the most amount of looks is typically where the herd travels. Interestingly, if the vote is divided, the herd will actually split up temporarily. Only the adult females are allowed a vote, regardless of social status within the herd. Number 9. Elephants never forget. Have you ever heard the phrase, memory like an elephant? It turns out that elephants actually do have a better memory than most living things. All mammals, including humans, have 4 different lobes in their cortex: occipital, parietal, temporal, and frontal lobes. All 4 of these lobes play a key role in the functioning of our brain. Elephants actually have a larger and denser temporal lobe, comparatively. The temporal lobe is commonly associated with memory acquisition, allowing elephants to have an incredible memory. Number 10. Oak trees are sacred. Trees play an important role in history and mythology. In many cultures, the oak tree is a symbol of longevity and strength, making it sacred. In Greek mythology, the oak tree was used to represent Zeus, the god of the skies and king of Olympus. In fact, the oak tree is considered sacred amongst Jupiter, Dagda, Perun, and Thor. Each of these gods have some kind of dominion over rain, lightning, and thunder. Coincidentally, Studies have actually found that oak trees are among the trees more likely to be struck by lightning in a storm. Number 11. Mysterious epidemic of laughter. In 1962, a mysterious epidemic of laughter broke out in a girls' school in Tanzania. The laughter quickly spread to other schools and eventually to the surrounding villages, affecting thousands of people. The epidemic lasted for several months and was so severe that many schools were forced to close. Number 12. Greenland can't join FIFA. Although soccer is very popular in Greenland, they can't join FIFA because their harsh weather conditions make it impossible to grow a grass field, one of the requirements for membership. An artificial grass pitch was laid at Nuuk Stadium in 2016, which FIFA now allows, but the stadium still lacks other required features. Number 13. The first Thanksgiving. The first Thanksgiving likely didn't include turkey, and other staples like cranberry sauce and mashed potatoes weren't on the menu either. The Pilgrims and Wampanoag Native Americans likely dined on foods such as seal, deer, eel, squash, berries, and cornmeal. Number 14. Half of all bank robberies in the US are done on a Friday. According to 2011 government statistics, bank robberies in the US take place most often in mid-morning, on Fridays, and in the southern and western states. Out of the total stolen $43 million in 2011, only a measly $8 million was recovered. Number 15. In 2014, a missing woman on a vacation in Iceland was found in a search party for herself. A missing tourist in the Elja Canyon was found in the search party tasked to locate her. She was last seen in the tour bus nearing the volcanic canyon. However, when she changed out of her clothes, she was reported missing. The search progressed from evening until the wee hours of the morning. The tourist group, and likely the tourist herself, were in for the surprise of their lives when they found the missing person in the search party itself. Number 16. A full jumbo jet tank has enough fuel to drive a car around the world 4 times. One of the most mind-blowing fun facts. The average jumbo jet burns roughly a gallon, approx 4 liters, of fuel every second. Compared to the average car fuel tank, this capacity can fill a car with enough fuel to circle the world 4 times over. Talk about a road trip. Number 17. A seaman once set a ship on fire to get out of work early. Definitely one of the don't try this at home fun facts. A civil employee once started a fire that ravaged the nuclear submarine USS Miami, which was docked at a naval shipyard. Though the cause for the fire was unclear at first, civilian employee Casey J. Fury soon admitted to starting the fire for an early dismissal from work. Fury was sentenced to 17 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $400 million in damages. Number 18. A frog can throw up an entire organ. Frogs don't have a gag reflex like humans and other animals. Their way of rejecting unwanted elements is way more hardcore. The frog vomits its entire stomach out, dangling it from its mouth. The frog then uses its forearms to clear out all of the stomach's contents. Finally, it swallows the stomach back down again. Number 19. Trees can communicate with each other. Now, we know what you're thinking. How can trees talk to one another? Well, while trees certainly can communicate with each other, it actually can't be seen with the naked eye. Trees talk to one another through an intricate network of fungi called mycorrhizal fungi, an underground hyphal network. It connects trees at their roots, allowing them to communicate by sending signals about upcoming threats like droughts or disease. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. This allows trees to alter their behavior upon receiving the signal. Number 20. The world's quietest room is located at Microsoft's headquarters in Washington State. In Building 87 of Microsoft's headquarters in Redmond, Washington, lies the quietest room in the world. With a record-breaking background noise of minus 20.35 decibels, this room is 20 decibels below the minimum of human hearing. It is so silent that if you stay in it for long enough, you'll start to hear your heartbeat, a deafening ringing in your ears, and the grinding of your bones. To achieve absolute silence, the room was constructed with an onion-like structure made of 6 layers of concrete and steel. Number 21. Marie Curie's belongings still have radioactive residue in present day. Marie Curie's contributions to science had her named by many as the mother of modern physics. One of the works she was most known for was her study of radioactive materials and the discovery of elements such as polonium and radium. However, Her research took a toll on her health. Radioactive exposure not only led to her death due to aplastic anemia, but her clothes, furniture, and books remain radioactive to this day. Now, over a century later, her notebooks have to be stored in a lead box, as they will still be radioactive for another 1,500 years. Number 22. The foil seals on medicine bottles were placed due to poisoning incidents. The Tylenol poisonings of 1982 was a widespread crisis that involved US consumers dying or falling ill from Tylenol. It was later found that the bottles had been laced with potassium cyanide. To restore the faith of the public in the product and the company, Johnson & Johnson patented the seal to prevent further tampering incidents. This is also the thought behind the "do not accept if seal is broken" warnings that we see with other products. Number 23. Buddhist monks practiced a meditation. Between the 11th and 19th centuries, Buddhist monks in northern Japan practiced a kind of meditation called sokushinbutsu, in which they would mummify themselves alive by slowly weaning themselves off food and water before eventually starving to death. Number 24. Explosives attached to bats. During World War II, a Pennsylvania dentist convinced President Roosevelt to bomb Japan with timed explosives attached to thousands of bats. But after some of the armed bats were accidentally released and destroyed their testing facility, the bat bomb project was scrapped. Number 25. Trees can fight back. Believe or not, if there's a threat, trees don't always allow it to harm them. In fact, sometimes trees fight back. Now, it would be a little terrifying if trees fought back the way the apple trees do in Wizard of Oz. Thankfully, you won't encounter any apple-throwing trees in the near future. Trees actually protect themselves in a much more subtle way. If an insect attacks a tree, it will fight back. Trees can flood their leaves with chemicals called phenolics, helping to deter any pests that may cause harm to the tree. They also have protective structures and processes that help protect them from disease, similar to our immune system. Number 26. Australia declared war on emus. In 1932, the government of Western Australia declared war on emus, a native bird species that was damaging crops in the region. The government sent soldiers armed with machine guns to hunt the emus, which proved elusive. Despite firing thousands of rounds of ammunition, the soldiers were able to kill only a few emus before the government declared peace after less than a week. Number 27. Cows hate country music. You'd think that cows would vibe with country music, but it's actually not the case. According to research, cows produce 3% less milk when listening to country music. The study was conducted on a Scottish herd of 45 cows, which were made to listen to classical music and country music. With classical music, their milk produce increased, with one particular cow making 1 liter more milk than usual. However, with country music, 44 cows were observed to yield 3% less milk. Number 28. An Australian engineer once sued his ex-boss for farting on him. In March 2017, David Hingst sued his ex-boss for repeatedly farting on him in his former job. He sought $1.8 million Australian dollars, $1.28 million, worth in damages. Apparently, his boss would fart on him 5 to 6 times a day, but his former supervisor insists he only ever did it once or twice. Number 29. Baseball fans eat enough hot dogs to stretch from Illinois to Los Angeles. Hot dogs are a signature baseball snack. During MLB season, about 25.5 million hot dogs and 5.5 million sausages are sold every year. Lined up end to end, the hot dogs are enough to stretch from Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois to Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Number 30. The inventor of the television banned TV from his home. When Philo Farnsworth invented the television in 1927, he intended for it to be a learning instrument that could possibly end wars. However, once TV was commercialized, he came to regret his invention. As a result, he did not allow his household to watch television. Definitely one of the ironic yet interesting facts. That's all for today. Subscribe to our channel for more fun videos.